So today's Cardinal lesson, we're going to talk about a relationship that we have with Brookstone Capital Management, or in other words, when we do investment management for you or financial planning, it's done under the license and representing Brookstone Capital Management. So we'll get into the factors in the video. And you say, well, who's Brookstone? Well, Brookstone is the registered investment advisor. That's a legal term. It's an authority under the Investment Act of 1940. And the acronym for a registered investment advisor is RIA. So they're the people that actually make the investments. They're also the people, the CFAs, that set the strategy, that pick the baskets of investments, that they have all set strategies that we're able to take our clients and put them in those strategies. So Brookstone Capital Management is the RIA that we use here. Tom and I use that, as well as Jamie and Drew, who are two of our younger associates. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. So the four of us are investment advisor representatives. So personally, this is not our company, but this is us personally. We report through Brookstone Capital Management. And you can look both of us up. You can look us up by name and see our whole history, see our education, that kind of thing, and our past employment history at FINRA Broker Check. You can just go into that, and then it's going to move you over to the SEC's site. But you can type in any one of our names. You can also go in there under the firm tab and type Brookstone Capital Management, and you can read all about us. And then the third party that's in the arrangement is the custodian. And the custodians that we use is either Charles Schwab or Fidelity. That's where your money is parked. So I want to go to Tom, and I want Tom to talk about why we're doing this video today.
Yeah, we're doing this video because we often get a question. We do all these videos. We're talking about financial planning, but we don't talk a lot about investments on the videos, and that's by design, right? That there's some compliance reasons in that. But we often get the question, "Do you guys do investments?" And the answer is yes. We help with investments. We can help instruct you of where to invest your money. This is the structure that we use to invest it, and so we'll get into more of the specifics of the different roles these parties play. But the answer to the basic question, "Do you help with investments?" The answer is yes. I want to bring up the show notes now. You can find these at the link below the video. They're also on our website. We have the board like always, and then really it's a pretty bare show notes today. We just have the bios of the four IARs that we have here under the roof here. So there's Hans, there's myself, and then Andrew, he goes by Drew, and then Jamie. And so those are the four people that are IARs that we work closely with. If you've worked with us previously, you have probably met either three or all four of these of us at some point. But this is, again, you can read more about who we are. And so before I turn it back to Hans, I do want to talk a little bit about sort of, I mentioned we have all these videos, and all these videos are really on the topic of financial planning, the different areas that we focus on. The investment piece is a very small portion of the videos, and we do very little videos talking about the specific investments. And when most people hear financial planning, that's all they think about is just the investment piece. And so we do that well. I think we can talk more specifically for you if you're interested, but that's just a small portion of what we do, right? It needs to be in the context of a broader plan. It needs to be specific to you. Everyone's portfolio is going to be different based off their needs. And so that's where the planning, really, we start with the planning first. And if the investments are needed, then and appropriate, then we'll get into that. We don't want to go too deep into the details on that today, because if we do so, we need to provide a disclosure brochure. So if you want to have that conversation, let us know. We will provide that brochure and we can talk more about that. But again, that's really the video today, is to go over the sort of the structure that we use, that we have chosen to use to help with the investment piece.
Okay, so all four of us are financial planners. And what we're talking to people about initially when they come into us typically is financial planning. And people hire us to do a financial plan. And the financial plan covers all seven of these topics and that are on the outside of the board. And then within that, obviously we're talking about investments and we're able to help you invest. But right off the bat, if we're charging you a fee, either by the hour or a flat fee plan, we have to charge you through somebody. We can't just have you write a check to Tom and John. So the way we do that is, again, through Brookstone Capital Management. What we're doing is retirement planning. So they provide us the facility to charge people money for our services. Okay. They provide a lot more than that. So, and what we're talking about in the video today is we've got three separate parties that work together, but they're independent of each one, and they each have a role. So our role is we're customer facing. We're the people that deal with you. Okay. And we are the ones who assess your risk, how much risk you're wanting to take, you're willing to take, you ought to be taking, um, how much income you need, when you might possibly need the money again. We get through that. We get into all your personal stuff. We learn about how much money you have, how much you have in your IRA and your 401k, and what you're going to live off once you retire. We're able to structure plans, structure investments. So we deal with you and take our knowledge and apply it in deciding whether, first of all, investing money through us or with us is the right thing for you. And then if it is, which investments, which strategies that Brookstone creates are we going to plug you into for the investment piece of your thing? So we are your customer facing people. And then we deal with Brookstone for a lot of things. They keep us compliant. They come in and inspect what we're doing. They watch every one of these videos and they sign off on them that there's nothing inappropriate in them, that we meet all the guidelines so we're not misrepresenting things. They check all our accounts when we do put money with them. We deal with them, they deal with Charles Schwab or Fidelity. We can go directly to Charles Schwab or Fidelity, but most of the time we just go to Brookstone, and Brookstone is online with them. They do the business. Now, Charles Schwab, who we use quite frequently, their job is to keep your money safe, to keep it accurate, to produce statements when trades are placed, when you want to get money out of the market. Um, we call it into Brookstone. Brookstone immediately calls it into Schwab. It's during business hours, and then Schwab makes the trades, and then they keep the money safe. When you want some of your money sent to you, or we want to do that on a regular basis, that's all done from Schwab. So they're the custodian. They're not that concerned about what we put you in. Okay, they do have some limits and some parameters, but for the most part, they're not concerned whether we put you in this set of ETFs or these stocks or these bonds. Um, their job is to put your money where we tell you, and Brookstone tells them to put it there. Brookstone's job is to pick those investments, and then they put it off on Schwab to be accurate. And so you got three separate parties, and this really works to the customer's benefit, because what I haven't mentioned yet is that both Brookstone and us as IARs, we are fiduciaries. So we have a responsibility to put the customer's needs, and the customer's you, to put your needs ahead of ours. And when there's a conflict of interest, when our needs appear or they're above yours, or there's something that creates a conflict of interest, then we have a requirement to disclose that to you. And then added, we have to do everything in our power to mitigate it. Okay. So what comes with this way of being set up to do business is a fiduciary responsibility of the client. And so that is necessary, that we need to be supervised. So we've got the RIA, which is Brookstone Capital Management. We have the four of us who are individually investment advisor representatives, And then your money is going to sit at very well known names, Charles Schwab or Fidelity, and you're able to make that request. Now, I want to bring Tom on, and I want Tom to just speak a little bit about these three different entities.
Yeah, I mean, I really view these entities, these three separate sort of categories, as really serving as sort of checks and balances on each other, right? I mean, if we just had, say, you're at a bank as an example, and you have the person at the bank doing the investments, the bank itself is the one holding the money, and then there's someone in the back office at the bank telling what investments to do. It's all in one place, and there's just not a lot of oversight on each other of what's going on. When we have this separated out into these three different categories, right? The custodian is making sure the money's safe. That really prevents someone like us, not that we would do this, but if someone wanted to take the money out of Schwab, we wouldn't be able to, right? It's only going to go to the client as we have a limited power of attorney where we can tell them the trades to make, but we can't make distributions out of that on our own. So there's some protection there that your money is safe there. No one could take it, no one could steal it. The investment advisor representative, which is like Hans and myself, we're really the ones that you would have the FaceTime with. We're really getting to know what your specific needs are, what your goals are, really forming the portfolio around that. Now, Brookstone we use to do a lot of the research. They have the CFAs on staff. They're doing the putting sort of model portfolios together, but they're not telling us which ones to use for you as the client. We're telling them which models we want to use based off your goals and needs. And then Brookstone is really sort of our back office, is the way I view them, is they make sure we're compliant. They deal with the SEC on our behalf. They do all the research we need for investments. And that way we can spend all our time just worried about you as the client, as opposed to also having to spend some of our time watching the markets, looking to see what the Fed is going to do next, what the interest rates are. I mean, we follow that stuff, but we want to spend our time focused on you. Brookstone serves that role for us. So all of these three are important. They all serve a role. And this, I think, puts the client in a better position than some of the other structures we could have chosen to use when we're handling investments.
Okay, so I want to talk about some of the offerings of Brookstone. Um, and I think the first couple of these, most people are familiar with what stocks are, bonds. This term ETF stands for exchange traded funds. And we use a lot of exchange traded funds. There's a reason. There's a cost efficiency in doing business there. It also is a diversification. So today we're not going to be teaching what all of these are. Mutual funds, we use some mutual funds. Managed portfolios, and that appears as a separate thing, but we put these things within your portfolio and then we manage it. We're responsible for watching it. So is Brookstone, and managing it in the sense of when it's time to sell things, buy things, um, talk to you about that, but we set a strategy. And so that's what portfolio management is. Structured products, generally put together, where we're not going to get into those today. Retirement planning, financial planning is a service that is offered through Brookstone, but it gets delivered by us. And the role that Brookstone plays in this mostly is just where we're able to charge you for this. And our fees are very competitive for that. And hedged equity strategies, and then fixed income products. And so I want to bring Tom back on to just talk about, like how do we serve most of our clients? What within this product portfolio here do people use most?
Yeah, when we're creating a portfolio, primarily we are using ETFs. And like Hans mentioned, it's a way to get broad diversification to the market without having to go out and pick the individual stocks. So we're not really stock pickers. If that's what you're looking for, we're not the a right fit for you. But we're building portfolios with a risk first stance, meaning we want to make sure that you're taking the appropriate risk. And then from there, the returns are important, but that's a function of the amount of risk that you take, right? You might have some level of understanding. The higher risk you take, the higher expected returns you would hopefully get. But if you're taking too much risk for your overall plan, that's a problem if markets go down. So we start with the risk first. We then build out the portfolio using primarily ETFs, some stocks and bonds. And again, that is very specific to the client. If you have a preference for one of these things, we can tailor a portfolio to your desires. So it's not everyone is in the exact same portfolio, but we build the portfolio. we sort of send those instructions to Brookstone. Brookstone is the ones making those trades based off how we've done this. And so it's a very seamless process. You really are going to have very little interaction with Brookstone. You'll see their name on some of the paperwork. Really your only contact will be with us, which is probably what you want, right? You want to be dealing with the people that know your needs, your goals, what you're looking for. And so that's how this works. Again, we can put together portfolios and show you what that looks like. We're just not going to do that today on this call or in this video, primarily because it's different for everybody and there's some compliance reasons and all sorts of things. So if you're interested, reach out. We can do that for you.
What most people come to us for is financial planning, retirement planning. And to us, that means we're going to cover the 7 subjects: the Social Security, Medicare, long-term care, money that's in a 401k and an IRA, money that's in something else, how you're going to create an income from that, estate planning, and then, of course, income taxes. And most of all that applies within this, but we don't get too many customers calling us up and saying, hey, I want to invest. Most people are, look, I'm going to retire. I'm already retired. Where's my income going to come from? What should I do about Social Security? How am I going to supplement Medicare? Do I need long-term care? How am I going to protect my assets against long-term care? Blah, 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 blah. People come to us for all this stuff, and then we cover all those. And then within that, we learn that they want an investment manager. They want us first to tell them what to invest in. Then they want us to help them do that as well. They want us to manage that over time as they age. And so this fits in as a piece of what we do. And it doesn't have to for everybody. We have some clients that choose to leave their money right where it is, and yet they pay us on an ongoing basis hourly fees to continue to advise them. So we're very flexible in terms of how we do business with people. So I want to bring Tom back on. I'm Hans Scheil.
And I'm Tom Griffith.
And we thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.